KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, we're going to have a great show today.
We always have a great show.
Getting ready for
And today is
springtime.
No, that was, I think that was last week, wasn't it?
Well, we're continuing it.
Okay,
We said that was the name of the show last week, but then we didn't even talk anything about it.
Well, we have, this is our first, and we've had a lot of shows about a lot of things. There's, your real estate is such a wide and deep subject. But
Yes.
one of the favorite subjects we always love to talk about,
Banjos.
homeowners.
Oh, boy.
Homeowner associations. And we have Margie Myers, who, let me make sure I get this right, it's Cadre Experts, and it's the Community Association Dispute Resolution Experts. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much.
And we promise we're not going to beat up homeowners associations.
Too much, right?
not too much.
Yeah, we promise, especially not the ones who play banjos.
I hate those banjo playing HOAs.
Gosh.
Anyway.
I'd like to see one of them.
Well, to our realtor listeners and our civilian listeners, tell people what you do.
Well, I'm here as a volunteer with the Community Associations Institute, and the Community CAI, Community Associations Institute, has a local chapter, and we focus on educating board members, managers, professionals who all serve community associations, how to do it right, the best practices in community association operations and management. We want our board members, we want our management companies to not be complained about at the legislature and the media. We want to do it right.
Yeah, well,
How to do it right. That's a novel concept.
Well, yeah, I've got some associations I'd like to give pass on to you, so
Yes.
maybe you can contact them.
Well, the HOAs, this is one of those animals where you only hear about it when it's going wrong.
Right.
When it's run smoothly and doing what it's supposed to do, it's in the background and nobody really even notices that it's happening. And that's why I think HOAs get such a bad rap is for that reason.
Yeah, only when it hits the media.
Yeah, but right. I am so glad you mentioned that, because National CAI, they're based in Falls Church, Virginia. National CAI runs a national survey every other year. They're surveying homeowners and board members, mostly homeowners. What do you think about your association? 93% of homeowners are happy with their homeowners association. 93%. That's a pretty high percentage.
It is high. I'm sure.
But the 7%
administration
are
like that
loud.
Kind of
Boy, you're so right.
My only complaint is once a year, when I am not at home.
Here we go.
Right, when I'm not at home, and I did not take my trash can from the edge of the street to where it needs to be hidden.
Oh, I
is
get
the
that
one day
letter.
they do their tour around and then write me up and say, please remember to remove your trash can from the street.
It was
And
just
I'm
a
like-
nice reminder,
I'm
though,
like,
right?
really? Of all the day, I've always have it away, but you have to write me up for that.
Yeah, well, it happens. They're there, and that's their job, is to protect the value of the community, right?
Right, absolutely.
HOAs actually serve an absolute purpose. Because
I would agree.
People would paint their house purple and
Yep.
Right.
have cars up on blocks in the driveway. So it's really important for maintaining values.
Well, that's the last time I invite you over.
Our producer's like, what? You can't have your car up on blocks? You can't paint it pink and purple?
I'm getting that fixed.
And everybody wants quiet enjoyment of their house. That's one of the things
Right.
that you want. It's quiet enjoyment. If you have somebody who is not allowing you to be quiet,
I want quiet
quietly
enjoyment of your house.
Well,
I want, a whole
I
bunch
want
of
my
car
house to be
parking.
loud and hopping.
bring your own steak. Yeah. And,
BYOS.
And so, anyway, so the association, again, most of the time it hits the media. We've had some legislative changes with association. Every time the 4th of July comes up, every time Memorial Day comes up, you always get that national thing that someone was not allowed to have a flag.
Right.
And now legislative, we've actually changed that you can't disallow somebody displaying the American flag on those holidays and things like that. But they still have to follow HOA regulations.
That's right. You can have a flag. It just can't be a mile square, right? It's got to be reasonable size.
I'm currently using my flag to shield me from the neighbor's house.
There you go.
But there's been some legislative change because it seems to be trying to seek that balance of too much control and not enough control.
Which is we're trying to help self-control associations, so it
Self-control.
doesn't. Yes.
I'm sorry, that's not a concept like
What is
grass.
this
we don't have to go to
self-control
the-
you speak of?
We don't have to go to the legislature and have them dictate what needs to get done. It should be just common sense. Be reasonable, be compassionate, be empathetic, be kind. And just think about these
well,
are
that
your
just
neighbors.
eliminated half
let's
America.
make this work among
Or
us
more.
rather than being dictated to by the legislature.
And it's usually a minority owner. Somebody that has just, one person in the subdivision.
Those random people again.
There's those random people. And
Thank you,
they are a
Larry.
protected class, but they're the ones
Yes.
that don't want to, follow the rules.
Right. And they're often the ones who year after year after year have the same complaint in the legislature. There's the same people who show up. Not too many new ones. It's just the same folks who just don't like HOAs.
My
and condo
mile-wide
associations.
flag just expresses my level of patriotism.
That's right. And I should have every right to disturb the neighbors so I can display my patriotism. Exactly. One of the other rules that have changed a lot is coming up is that you can't kind of dissuade people from doing drought-resistant landscaping.
Right.
And so I know a lot of associations have set up where that you have to have certain, you have to have 2 oak trees in the yard or 2 Bradford
Right.
pears or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
And so I haven't seen that tested yet. Have you seen anything on that where people are trying to use drought resistant but the association is fighting them?
Yeah, I haven't seen it personally, but I think that associations also need to conform to conditions. They need to be able to be flexible enough so that when we've got droughts, when things change, when the
Demographics.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
The demographics of the community change. We need to be flexible and change with them. So we shouldn't have to have the state tell us what to do. We need to be flexible and understanding and do it ourselves.
Well, yeah, we get legislation when things don't happen, though. That's
Right.
that's the issue. And, of course, that doesn't impact Houston as much as like San Antonio and Austin can't buy a rainstorm. They still have some drought conditions there. But anyway, but you do mediation. So you have issues now. Typically, who are the parties involved when you do mediation?
Oh, they're usually disputes between the owners association and a homeowner. And rather than go to court over it, they've gone through the internal hearing where the association sent out the notices. The owner disputed the violation, so the owner attended a hearing, and they didn't get resolution there. So they call in a mediator or maybe just a dispute resolver. I'd like to call myself that rather than formal mediation. And it can have anything to do with like landscaping or a pet, whether it's a comfort animal or not, although that's a fair housing issue, which is a totally different story.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that get challenged because with PTSDs, a comfort animal can be any animal.
Right.
Right.
And I'm waiting for somebody to have a goat as a comfort animal.
Yeah, service animals. No, you're right. Service
We need
animals
our
are
sound
limited. Comfort animals
Oh,
are
nice.
broader.
Yeah, exactly. You don't usually have a CNI goat, absolutely, but it might be.
CNI goat. I'm totally looking into that. I don't even need one. That just sounds cool.
But I talk a lot about this when I teach classes that we've got some things that are conflicting. We've got rules of the association, but then we have the Disability Act, which is a federal law, which kind of overrides everything.
Right.
And so, have you seen anything like that where people are fighting over those types of things?
When it gets to fair housing, we really tell them go talk to the attorney because the attorney can tell you black and white what you can and cannot do because these are issues that can't be mediated. When it comes to other things like having 2 pets instead of 1, how about there's a family that's got 2 cats, they're inside cats. Nobody knows they've got cats because they're always inside. They're not allowed outside. They're declawed. They're inside. And a board member visits the home and finds out that there are 2 cats inside. And in this particular, say it's a condo, and the condo rules say you can't have any pets. What's reasonable? What's the intent of that rule anyway? Is it because they want to protect the grounds? They don't want poop on the grounds. I say poop because poop is a big issue when it comes to community associations. But is that what the issue is?
You got the poop here, folks.
Yeah, that's right. You guys got the poop here first. Straight poop talk.
Yeah, because people walk their dogs in neighborhoods, and dogs have a habit of finding their favorite spot, and it's usually the
Right.
neighbor's yard. And of course, hopefully, they'll be responsible, pet owners, and pick it up and take it with them.
Right. So,
But they don't.
But they don't.
And
I
you know,
know.
why are you picking on cats anyways? You need to pick on like kimono dragons or something like that.
Because cats is a bigger issue. I haven't seen too many of the dragons on property lately.
Well, you know, this is one with dealing with a pet. This is the funny. I get the letter from the community association with a picture of my garage door that's open 4 inches. They say both your garage doors need to work. I said they work perfectly fine. It's open 4 inches so the cat can get out, right? And they send this letter periodically, randomly, and I'm like, yeah, I'd be happy to show anybody. Here it is. It's working, you know. It's literally open 4 inches.
Right.
Just so the cat
But you
can
know, your
crawl
cat's
out.
sitting there going, if it works, why don't you just open it up more so I don't have to like squeeze underneath there?
Yeah, wait a minute.
My back is hurting, Joe.
What's the deal
She's a
with
small
this
cat.
loose cat anyway?
Poor cat. Everyone knows
spayed,
George's
neutered,
torturing
no
his cat. Hey,
problem.
get underneath. I'm going to put 3 inches this time so you can get out of there.
The problem lies in the fact that if you make an exception for that person with the 2 cats, then all of a sudden says, well
Everyone.
you know, I want a Yorkie, and they're small, and I'm going to keep it inside, and you know, where do you stop?
If 2 cats are good,
You know, this
40
is-
or better.
You're getting to one of my favorite topics now because a lot of boards are afraid to say yes to one person because they're going to set precedent.
Yes, they are.
And once they set precedent, everybody's got to do it. Well, that's not the truth. That's not true. There's a special resolution that the board could pass. Special resolutions go whereas, now therefore.
Right.
And if in this particular situation there are indoor cats, they're never let outside. So the
Whereas
board
we like
can
cats and not Yorkies.
yeah, and the
Or potbelly
resolution can
pig.
say,
Therefore.
as long as they're indoor cats, as long as they never go outside, then they can put all the criteria for allowing the cats. So as long as, if other people want to have inside cats, as long as they meet the same criteria, it's okay. It's
So
it's an
if I have
exception
one
to
of
the
those,
rule.
you know, those people that might be a little eccentric and decide to have 92 cats, and
No.
but they never go outside.
Right, but the board can say you're limited. The board can say you're limited to 2. And with the Yorkies, you know, I guess, and it's up to the board to write the criteria. They could say as long as the Yorkie has their little pad or whatever, and the Yorkie never goes outside, then we'll let you have that too. But only 1, and it's got to meet health standards.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of times what happens, and I mean, I understand on the opposite side of things, sort of doing the devil's advocate, right? Is that you the second you start making an exception because one person ended up having 2 cats, and so you do a special, assessment, et cetera, it opens it up for maybe individuals who did not want to have animals, who did not want to have the Yorkie who's barking,
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera. So it's that slippery slope on everything, right?
No, you're right. And the board has to think about each circumstance. And maybe it means surveying the neighbors to see
Right.
if they're going to be affected by it. Or if they've got common air vents, that might be a situation which they have to say no.
Right.
Because then maybe the fur and the dander is going to get into other units. So
No,
you're
I
right.
agree.
They
I
have-
think potbelly pigs are definitely the way to go from now on.
And when they
No
get too big,
maintenance.
and just eat them.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm hearing win-win for everybody.
Yeah,
what I'm
exactly.
saying.
What's for lunch or breakfast?
Ralph, we're having Ralph. He was
Yes.
a great pig.
He was a great pig. Pass me the bacon.
He's a great
So,
pig.
if I may, I know we're running out of time. I just want to give your callers their phone number because we have a hotline at 832-251-1874, or they can go online to the website at caihouston.org. We have an HOA hotline, free service for homeowners, board members who are having problems with their association or questions about it, and we've got a bunch of experts ready to answer it for them.
And by the way, you're not leaving, so we're
Yes,
going to keep
you're
you
definitely
around till
coming
the
back.
next show. So.
But it's
I thought it could get out of here now.
No.
CAIHouston.org.
CAI Houston, right? That's
Door
right.
locks behind you when you come in.
CAIHouston.org. We are coming up against a break. Time flies when you're having fun. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Went to heavenly bodies aglow, all the stars agree. This is that ice cold Michelle fight for that
Listen to the songs before I talk. I couldn't get it out of my head.
You couldn't, right? But Mike's alive, by the way. Just want to let you know that.
I kept everything PG.
You did. It was actually really good. I appreciate that. You know, time flies when you're having fun, but we have a long time to go still. And next up, speaking of community associations, we're now getting into something else, right?
We're getting into mosquito season.
Mosquito season. That is correct.
Yeah, they always talk about Houston doesn't have seasons, but that's not true.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah,
the
hot and
cockroach
cold.
season.
Yeah.
We've got the mosquito season. We've got hurricane
Flying
season.
roach season.
And, 9 months of summer.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I always thought it was hot,
Love
and then
bug
very
season.
hot, then extremely hot, and then humidity.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Welcome
So-
to Houston, right? And so, since this is your invitee, I think you should introduce him, Joe.
My invitee.
Invitee.
Yes, Mr. Tommy Warren. Crazy thing. We connected on LinkedIn and just we're talking back and forth, just business stuff. And I said, man, we need to get you on the show. And mosquitoes is definitely an issue in Houston, and certainly affects homeowners and that sort of thing. And he also does landscape lighting, and both of which I thought was relevant for this time of year. And after we booked them on the show and everything, come to find out that my business partner, Troy, his wife, Nicole, is Tommy's daughter.
What a coincidence.
I had no idea.
What a coincidence!
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Boy, I know
the
Joe is
proverbial
not that
small
dumb.
world.
So anyway, Tommy, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. And this is the time of year that people, we talk a lot about people don't buy houses anymore. They buy lifestyles. And one of the lifestyles that people are really looking at, having outdoor kitchens and things like that. But what goes along with that is you have to be out with, all the elements, which is often mosquitoes and other flying insects. So talk to me about, what you do and how you do it and what you recommend for homeowners who want to go out inside and enjoy their backyards.
Okay, sir, I sure will. First, I want to thank y'all for inviting me. I've always been told I had the perfect face for radio, so here I am.
You're in good company.
Yes, the
Must have the
mosquito.
same moms.
There you go. The mosquito control system is probably the feature item here today, and if you can kind of imagine an irrigation system that's mounted on the eaves of your house or the top of your fence, nozzles are spaced about 10 feet apart, and twice a day it sprays a pyrethrin, which is a botanical pesticide not harmful to humans or pets. And this kills the mosquitoes. It actually breaks the breeding cycle, and truly in a matter of 3 days, you'll notice a very significant difference of not having any mosquitoes in your backyard.
Do they go around like the perimeter of your fence, or how does that work?
Yes, sir. We go around the perimeter of fence, generally across the eaves of the house in the back. Occasionally, a client will have us put a couple of nozzles around the front door so the mosquitoes won't come in when guests are there. But mosquitoes are predominantly bred in moist conditions like
Houston.
ponds, fountains, ponds and fountains, mulch in the flower beds. And you can't breed mosquitoes on a concrete slab, but all the perimeter items around it is where they're actually breeding and developing.
Well, pretty much any standing water will breed mosquitoes. Because I noticed after a big rainstorm, if water pools anywhere in the yard, all of a sudden you'll have, a flurry of mosquitoes.
An interesting caveat to that is the mosquitoes lay their eggs generally about 1 inch above wherever the existing water they're having. Mosquitoes all eat algae is what they live on. Only the female mosquitoes bite. And they do that because they need mammal blood to incubate their eggs.
Yeah, you're writing my script for me, aren't you? Someone's, but only the females bite. There's a lesson to be learned there, folks.
Rob wants to become a mosquito, by the way. He wants to be the male mosquito of the group.
Well, another interesting fact is these eggs can lie dormant up to 2 years. And if the water rises enough to cover them, they'll hatch, even though they've been laid 2 years previously.
Rob, I just want to point out that the ladies who listen to the show would point out that the males are scum suckers.
But moving on.
And for all those listening, we do love Rob, by the way.
Yeah. So after a rainstorm, that's often why we see so many mosquitoes kind of come out.
Exactly.
How long does it
That's-
take them to hatch after they get in the water?
A day?
A day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
1 day to hatch after the water rises.
Is there anything you can spray in the eggs to prevent them from
Well,
hatching?
our pyrethrin that we spray actually terminates the eggs too. It will destroy the egg.
And my question always is, so, these systems, because obviously it's a spray that comes out, I guess, you mentioned within 3 days you'd have probably no more mosquitoes around there. I mean, how does that sort of work? I mean, does the wind not take it away? Does it settle to the ground? I mean, what's sort of the technology around how it's able to effectively, manage the mosquitoes?
In an ideal situation, they said the nozzles are spaced 10 feet apart, and excuse me, said they you spray it twice a day because it's so mild. But yes, it just falls on the ground, and there's a residue that lasts until the sun either destroys it or more rain destroys it. So we spray twice a day. The best description I've ever given on what the system looks like is if you had 25 or 30 of your neighbors come over and spray aerosol cans at the same time twice a day is what it looks like.
Really? Well, Joe,
So all I need is about 30 people to come over twice a day, and I don't have to buy one of these systems. So
Exactly. Exactly. You need to be there sun up and sun down.
hey, we're having an aerosol party today. Come on over, guys.
come on over, guys. Here's your can.
or go find 6,000 geckos to hang out in your yard.
Yeah. So you said it's a botanical spray.
Yes, sir. It's the predominant ingredient in it is from the chrysanthemum plant, which is predominantly raised in Africa. It's a cash crop of Africa. And when they bring the pyrethrum over here, they mix it with other chemicals to hold it in suspension and to assist it. And that mixture is called pyrethrin, I-N. And that's what we mix with water. In a 55-gallon system, which is a normal system with a reservoir, you put a half a gallon of the chemical in 55 gallons of water.
And it's totally not harmful to pets or anything. I mean, if it got on your skin or whatever, it's not a big deal.
Exactly. It's no big deal at all. I certainly wouldn't recommend drinking it, but no,
Darn.
we've been doing it.
Dang it, we were trying to put it in Joe's drink
mental
this
note.
morning.
Yeah. Don't drink
Stop
the poison.
drinking the pyrethrum.
Pyrethrin.
Now, does it impact any other
Pyrethrin.
insects, spiders, or anything else that's out there?
Yes, sir. Up at Lake Livingston, we put a couple of systems in, and they put them in to control the spider population.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of issues up in lakes with spiders.
You said spider, not spousal, right?
Not
Right.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Totally not harmful to spiders. So he says.
According to my research, it has a little effect on the spouses. So
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
unfortunately.
Just want to make sure. It's always good to clarify those right there.
So in other words, it's not going to control just the mosquito population. It's going to help, curtail spiders and things like that.
Yes, sir. And if you have pets, what got me into it was my other daughter, not the one y'all mentioned, but my other daughter has some little Yorkie dogs, and she heard about this and had me investigate it. This thing kills fleas and ticks too. Any kind of insect that'll bite you, and it's small. Now, it's not good for controlling wasps or bees because the insects are so much bigger, and this chemical's just not strong enough.
So, one of the things we want to warn everybody, don't take a pet to somebody who has a mosquito system and say, hey, and throw them up to the spout and, go ahead and spray them right there. That's not the recommended solution to get rid of ticks or lice or mice or anything else like
Funny,
that.
Chris, I was not even thinking about that.
I was like, man, I could save a
I'm just
trip
not so
to the
sure
vet.
how your brain. It
I
must
go
be
right
hard
up
to be
there and go,
inside
okay,
there.
come here, girl.
Just hose them down.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
That's pretty good. So, Tommy, what is the basis of cost for this? Is it the size of the yard? I mean, how does that work?
Yes, sir. An average yard, residential yard, will require 25 to 30 nozzles. Those systems sell for right at $2,500 a piece. Now, that's installed, taxes paid, chemical in the drum. And let me say there's two types of systems. There's a drum system and a tankless system. The tankless is the newest thing out. It actually mixes the product and the water together right before every spray.
Wow.
The tank system, you pre-mix it and it's in a reservoir. Now, very frankly, in my mind, the only advantage is the tankless is considerably smaller. It's about 2 feet by 2 feet versus the size of a 55-gallon drum.
Gotcha. And is there any cost difference between those two?
Yes, sir, there is. The tankless runs about $500 more than the barrel type does.
So that's not too bad. We're looking at getting a pool put in this summer, and that's mosquitoes is definitely on the radar now. As I had previously not spent as much time in the yard, although I'm envisioning that a lot more. And when I was in the yard, I was cooking and smoking, and that kind of took care of a lot of the mosquito problems right there.
Yes,
That's like a good cigar to get rid of.
Now, Joe, I didn't think
Yeah,
you were
nothing
necessarily
like a
putting in
good cigar to get rid of
pool.
a
I think you
mosquito.
were going to look for a new home with a pool, I thought.
Yeah.
No.
Isn't that correct, Kim?
Yes, that's right, Kim. A
No,
new
she
home
has
with a new
talked
pool.
me into installing a pool, and so we're in the process of working on that.
Sounds good. Now, are you digging the hole right now?
I am digging the hole.
You're having like a dig party?
I've got a goal. She's set for me 4 feet square a day.
Okay.
What could go wrong, folks?
What could go wrong? Joe's going to post on the internet,
find
the do-it-yourself pool.
Yes.
It's going to be a big like mud pit out there. He's like, come on, have a good
Actually,
time.
Full of mosquitoes, by
We
the way.
are going to be doing it ourselves. I'm not joking.
You see? I told you. I knew it.
I'm not digging it, I can assure you.
That's why he has 2 children.
Yes. He's on to me.
But that's why he's really interested in mosquito system, because he
Yes.
knows he's going to be working on all that mud.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, mosquitoes definitely are on the radar now in a new way. So
I understand. Well, how can we reach you if we want to get one of those mosquito systems put in, if you don't mind?
we have 3 separate web pages. All of them are American Outdoor, and one is American Outdoor Mosquito Control. So you can reach us through that, through Mistaway, which is a company that actually manufactures the systems, or call us at 832-641-0169.
That is awesome. You can go to Mistaway. Great time if you start considering a mosquito system in your home. Time flies, you're having fun. We still have 30 more minutes to go. Before we do so, we have to let our sponsors have a good run at
Have to
this.
have a say, right?
They have to say so in this show, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Object like me, you can bet as sure as you live.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we're back. Having a good time as usual. Fun between the break. Good selfie just got through taking on right now.
That'll be
And we have the wonder of the woodlands in studio right now.
Hey, we've
Yes,
taken
the
to naming
wonder
our
of
realtors
woodlands,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
If you
we
don't have a
always have to
nickname,
have some
you'll
good
have
names
one
right
by the
there.
time
Yeah. So
get done with
you're now
us.
the wonder of woodlands. Yes.
Put it on your cards.
Pretty absolutely amazing.
It's official
right there.
when somebody else says it. You can't
Yes.
say it yourself.
We have Manuel Molina.
Molina, that is correct.
From the
With
Keller Williams office out in the Woodlands. Welcome to the show.
Also
Don't
known
listen
as
to these
Mr.
guys.
Wonder.
Yes, the
Yes.
Wonder of the Woodlands.
yes.
So, yeah, we got the Queen of the Met.
Yeah, that's correct. We had Queen of Met. Now we got the Wonder of Woodlands.
Princess of Pearland.
Yeah, we had
so-
Rockstar last week.
And we
So
got the
yeah, I
Rockstar.
mean,
So
yeah.
We should
everybody's-
start charging for these nicknames. I'm just
Absolutely.
saying.
He's gonna go register right away. He's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
steal
Wonder
that
of
slogan
Woodlands.
so fast.
The wonder of the woodlands.
Well, you know,
I'll sell the domain to you.
And
I've already just registered
thanks to Capital Title for having him on
That
the
is
show
true.
today.
That
So
is
we had
true.
to give full credit there.
Yeah.
And very excited. I'm always curious. I've been in the business a long time, and I see
A long
young,
time.
Great. I'm seasoned. Yes. We have established that I'm seasoned. Anyhow, I'm always curious as to how and why you got into the real estate business. So tell us your story a little bit.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. Capital Title, awesome, a sponsor. And I just want to say it was kind of like a fluke. I was in land developing engineering, and I started working for a land developer in the Houston area. And they needed a Spanish-speaking agent over the weekend to sell property. And back in the day, single, working, full-time. It just started working in the industry Monday to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, selling land for the developer. I started making more money in real estate than in the engineering department. So, decided to get my license, and 12 years later, here I am.
Now, is there a big need for Spanish speakers in Houston? I would never have thought that.
It's a lot of French, I found. A lot of French. So you
Yeah.
probably just niche marketing, I guess.
Yeah, I thought Dutch was the predominant language that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They were not joking.
The
that it was
listening
gonna be a lot
audience
of
couldn't
fun,
see that
that's for sure.
expression right there.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Panama City, Panama, Central America. Yes, sir.
We just had somebody talking about Panama. It sounded like a great place to go retire.
That is
Yes.
true.
And we're all considering that.
But, you know, a
actually.
great place to buy is actually in the Woodlands, right?
That is correct. And I'm an international student agent also, so if you want something to be hooked up in Panama, I can set you up.
I like that.
nice.
You like that, yes.
Thank you.
Anyway, and so you've gone on to traditional type of real estate. Are you selling residential? Still selling land? Or?
I'm both. I'm actually residential and commercial, and do a big tract of lands. I'm being with Keller Williams 12 years. I am, not to say anything bad about the wonder of the Woodlands, but I've been #1 agent, individual agent in 2013 and also 2014.
That's
All
awesome.
right.
You're like one of the best kept secrets out there.
I like
That's
that.
not
Very
a-
nice.
It's not a secret anymore now.
Yeah, see, I
It's out
told you
there.
he was the wonder of the Woodlands.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So and you don't use the team concept at all, for you just do individual type sales.
That's correct. I mean, I'm an individual agent, but I have 2 assistants.
Oh yeah, well you have to
I
nowadays.
definitely do,
Because you're
yes.
certainly busy. What do you see selling out there in the Woodlands?
I mean, the price range in the Woodlands is a different animal, I will say. You got a little bit of everything, but the price range that is selling most is, from the 400s to the million. That's the hot market right now. And our low inventory is hurting us a little bit. A lot of multiple offers on one property, but it's coming around. People are
And
the housing market.
you deal a lot of people with international types that come in here. What are they looking to find when they move into the Woodlands areas?
I mean, because they're coming. I mean, whenever they come to the Woodlands, they actually have a better deal. They, more square footage, cheaper prices. So most of them are cash. And
We
it
speak
just,
cash.
Yes, big cash.
Chris doesn't like it too much.
I don't speak cash very well. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
no.
more of a credit guy, but
Joe doesn't care much for the cash either.
Yeah.
I still can send you some.
sounds good.
I get plenty of people who are working with it, just not by choice.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Needless to say, I got 70% of my clientele is Hispanic. So, yeah, but they do need credit, and with the new credit mortgage related with Mexico, especially that are coming a lot from them, they still can use their credit from Mexico and
Yep.
and go relate it here in
Yeah,
the
we've
US.
actually got a lot of things tailored now for foreign nationals coming in and buying. We did
Absolutely.
years ago we didn't really have a lot of product, but we got to be such an international city and attracting people from all over the planet, not just Mexico.
Yeah.
That there's some great products and things now.
Well, there are, and do me a favor also, one of the things you were saying, 70% of your clientele is Spanish speaking, or some type of Latin America. It is, and I tell people this all the time. Obviously, I grew up down in Mexico. You grew up in Panama. We grew up in Latin America. It's a different, you have to understand that market to really be effective in selling. I mean, not that a Latin American's not going to do business with an Anglo or anything like that, but it definitely is a different sales cycle. You're selling to the family, you're selling lifestyle, you're selling safety, you're selling a lot of things that are different than the traditional individual who might just be relocating from Katy to the Woodlands.
That's correct.
Describe a little bit about how you do some, how that works.
I mean, not just even that they, just for the safety and they're buying it as a primary resident. Actually, a lot of them are looking into it. Katy, the Woodlands, Clear Lake area. They're actually looking for an investment. A lot of Fortune 500 companies are coming to our area, and actually they're looking at just because of that. So, the market is good. The area is booming. So they're going to look for something worth to really spend the money on.
Yeah,
And
and
real
as-
estate is a
as-
great
as
way
we
to do
think
it.
of it, we always have this financial figure out there, and of course, it's usually propagated by the national media. But
Right.
I think universally, they still see the U.S. as a great place to put their money, and certainly Houston is, in my consideration, is the #1 economy in the country.
It is.
That is, actually.
And so I can't think of a better formula for attracting foreign nationals to come in and buy.
Well, I still think
Bring
you
them suitcases of cash with you.
Well, yeah, no, and if you go back through the history of the United States, one of the things still holds true today is real estate is still the single best investment you can make. It has withstood every single depression, every single market downturn. It has created more millionaires out of real estate holdings than any other aspect, including the S&P, anything associated with the Dow, et cetera, et cetera. So it's and then put that we're in the #1 market in the country, and then a place like the Woodlands, in which it's one of the hottest areas within Houston. It's sort of that
If they
perfect
can just
storm.
fix Woodland Parkway, how they ever thought that a single lane exit off of a major interstate would work for very long. It's just beyond me.
I don't think they really anticipated the Woodlands, though, being as strong as it is nowadays.
It's just amazing to go out there. And I love going out and visiting. We have our wonderful Capital Title. We get to go out and visit them on occasion. But, you get over there on Waterway and all that. It's really is a nice lifestyle.
And talk a little bit about that lifestyle, up there. I mean, are people coming in not only buying lifestyle for their homes, but they're also looking at what Houston offers in lifestyle, correct?
I mean, we have the number 2 in the world, the Woodlands Mitchell Pavilion, for all our concerts and things like that. So that is a huge attraction to the Woodlands. Now, Howard Hughes Corporation buying the Woodlands out, and it's impacting a lot, the name out there. Not that the Woodlands itself is not big, but it just created a huge wave of just everybody knowing what's the Woodlands all about, being so close to the airport, and then all the amenities that we provide.
You're close to Lake Conroe. You're close to, you really are close to a lot of things out there. It's just not downtown Houston.
That's correct.
And I see those people commuting, because usually I'm heading out in the morning to go out maybe and teach out in the Woodlands, and I see all those people commuting into downtown. What kind of commute time is that to people that work downtown?
Well, actually, with the Grand Parkway coming in soon, because actually it's right next to us in North Spring area, so it's going to be possibly about 23 minutes. That's what they're projecting.
Well, of course, that'll be a toll road, which is one of Chris's favorite subjects. We talk about toll roads another day, though.
Yes, exactly. We don't want to get on that
People
tangent
cannot
right
see you
now.
shaking your head, Chris.
They're still working on it.
Still working on it right there. But yeah, no, I mean, the tollway's scheduled to open, at the end of this year?
That is correct.
If I'm not mistaken. So that's going to take it all the way around to hopefully 59 on the south side, which, I mean, think about it now. Someone who's in Katy who needs to go to the Woodlands, you're going to be able to get there and without any traffic in 30 minutes.
Well, you took me up 99 on that trip that one time we were going out to that area, and I was like amazed how quickly. And I'm not sure it's going to stay that way that long, but it was really nice, even though we were paying a toll.
Right.
Yep.
We got over that.
We got over that. There are certain things I do get over.
That is just coming right out of Community Drive, right on 59 or Highway 69. It's going to be International 69. So it's going to be a nice ride.
Yeah. What is the number one amenity that people look for? Because they're choosing the Woodlands, and there's a lot of choices in the Houston, Texas area, but they're choosing the Woodlands. What's the number one attraction?
I mean, I would say our safety, the way that the development is being built. It's just an amazing location just to be in. You're so close to everything, and it's a self-contained subdivision. You don't have to go, to the Houston area to go to a nice doctor. Herman Hospital is down the street, St. Luke's. You got great schools, 4 stars, 5 stars. You got Klein School District down the street, the Woodlands in it. And anything that you want, we have it.
And then, we've been talking about HOAs a little bit earlier today. It's a very strong HOA up in the Woodlands as well. I mean, one of the things, and you might describe this, you're not going to be driving down the Woodlands and see a whole bunch of billboards, for example. They're very strict in regards to signage. They're very strict in regards to what can be put up. I mean, that's sort of what's kept the Woodlands such a neat area to live in as well.
That is correct. I mean, it's just, you got to give props to the HOA associations overall. Just the matter of, they preserve the area, they keep the values up. So we like it. We as agents, we just love it.
Oh, yeah, anything that can drive up value and opportunity.
How many months' supply of homes are there right now? Is it still under 3, I think, up there?
Correct. That's 41. Yep.
So it's still a seller's market up there. And I actually remember we had one of our agents up there that was calling on the show and talked about had to have his client actually said, make it stop. That There were so many people. He had said, my neighbors are complaining.
Yeah.
I have so many realtor cars on our street trying to show these homes. Are you having the same thing with your listings where you're just getting so many showings and offers?
That's correct. I mean, the multi-offer situation is killing us. We try to make our clients, please put the properties on the market now. It's the right time. And it's tough, but, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, but he's smiling, folks.
He's smiling, absolutely. How can we reach you, by the way?
I mean, my team is mmolina at themolinateam.com, or you can reach me at 281-507-6923. That's my direct line. I got my phone attached to my hip.
Yep, it's right here. It keeps going off, by the way, in the studio. We hear the vibration going on. So, anyways, we are not going anywhere. We still have one more segment to go in which we get to razz all these guys just nonstop.
And they can razz us back.
Yeah, they can razz us back a little bit. That is true. So we're taking a break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.
My heart won't let my feet do things that they should do.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
Y estamos de regreso aquí en 100.7 con Manuel Molina. En español todo, ¿no?
¿Sí?
Claro que sí.
¿Verdad que sí?
Llámame Jose. Insinuate De Niro.
Bueno, Manuel, vamos a cambiar en inglés, ¿eh?
Uno más cerveza, por favor.
¿Dónde está el baño?
And that's why we get 70% of our clientele Spanish speakers, and y'all
we
get...
don't. Zero.
That's why my entire staff is Spanish, and I don't even try.
Speaking of this, the thing about the Hispanic population, these are people who are coming in. They're very family oriented. They want to do family things together. They're very tight knit as a family, and it's changing how we do communities. A lot of times everything will be right there, so they can recreate together and have their families over and things like that. So it's a nice thing because we kind of lost a lot of the family as a society in Houston. But we're seeing people have that same value system that we used to have.
I've always heard that, that, oh my gosh, here in the United States, they've lost the family values, et cetera, et cetera. And, I've lived here long enough that I can say family is what you make it, right?
Right.
The values that you instill upon your children and amongst others is what you make it to be, right? And in every culture, in every country, you're going to have differences between people who raise their children or like the family. I will tell you, though, I grew up in Mexico all my life. Manuel grew up obviously in Panama. The one thing that we have a very big influence here in Houston is that we do have that international community. And what happens a lot of times is Houston is the number one melting pot in the world. I will.
Corbin County is
Yes.
touted as having the most diverse population
Absolutely.
in the country.
Most diverse population in the country. And so one of the things that's great about that, though, is remember this. When you move in, and I can talk about this because when we moved to Houston, same thing with you, Manuel, probably, the first thing you do is you try to surround yourself with individuals that are like-minded, who have those same values and cultures and customs and way of educating your children. And what ends up happening, that creates community. And then that community grows from there. And so if you look at where Houston is today, you're right. It's a very, Houston is a very tight-knit, it's a very open community, very open to others, very serving, very children and family oriented. I mean, we're the first community to walk up to our neighbor and say, hey, I am having a barbecue today. How'd you like to come over and bring the family?
Yeah.
And that is something that I think is very beautiful because we're seeing that influence. We're seeing, that expansion of family and it's something I thoroughly enjoy. It's something I grew up in Mexico with, and probably the same thing in Panama, right?
That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even in our neighborhood where I live in the Woodlands, we have a 1 month night out. We all get together, we bring on, desserts, stuff, and we just hang out for a couple hours, to know who our neighbors are and things like that. So the ambient is there and the culture is there, so it hasn't disappeared even though I'm in another state. So
I think that's one of the beauties of community associations. The real purpose of a community association, there are three purposes. There's business, there's governance, but then there's the community. And the purpose, I think that's the main purpose, is to bring that spirit of community so that they've got outdoor barbecues and pool parties and bringing people together and enjoying each other's company. I think that's one of the primary benefits of living in a community association.
And of course, having happy residents is having happy neighbors makes your job a little bit easier. Now, when you go out and advise associations, you kind of say, look, you might consider doing some things which you're going to pull people together because you're not going to complain against somebody that you're your friend.
That's
typically.
Absolutely right. What a really good point. When people know each other and understand the differences, the diversity in the community, it makes it a whole lot easier to live with each other. And if there's a problem, just go talk to your neighbor. Don't complain to the board.
What a concept. I mean,
Rob has a contractual obligation for one intelligent comment per show, so we went ahead and got that one covered.
Okay.
Good job, Rob. Our agents were very
You will
strict on
absolutely
that.
pay for that one. You don't know when, you don't know how, but you will.
I count on it.
I'm thinking Joe bus. Under. So, anyway, but I think that'd be a great. We need to get a sound on that. Yes, back it up.
Yes.
But I think that would be a great thing to. And again, Margie. I'm actually going to make sure your name gets out there, because there are some associations out there that really don't have a clue. And again, we often talk about the person who ends up being the president. Okay, if the president's out there of associations, don't call up and complain here. But a lot of times it's the person that has way too much time in their hand, and they're just going out nitpicking around the neighborhood. I mean, it's somebody.
But they don't get the big picture about why they have that community association, what their role is in the community.
Well, they're just rule followers, and they want to make sure everybody's following the rules to the T. And of course, we deal a lot in the gray areas, and they want everything black and white, and it doesn't always work that way.
No, there's so much more to being or running a community association. It's not just the business and the governance, it's the community.
It is a place for people to live, raise their family, bring their friends. What a novel concept, and let's make it enjoyable. Let's not make it so punitive. And that's the piece that you need to advise those folks. Let's make it fun.
Okay, how many people are listening today? Did you get the message? Be nice.
Make it be nice.
Gentler.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things our producer is asking right here, he wants to know. And his question is it good or bad that community associations have their own Facebook page where people can put complaints on there a lot of times in which you see things,
Personally, I don't like having that. I like the Facebook page to disseminate information, but it's kind of like mob mentality. I think sometimes when one person starts complaining, then everybody starts complaining.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be that 7% and not the 93%. And it just takes one or two to really turn the temperature of that community to negative. So
So the short answer is no.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's like anything. We tell everybody, you do one good thing for a person, they're going to go out and tell 2 or 3. You do something wrong or perceived to be wrong, they're going to go out and tell 10 and 20.
Exactly.
Right. So it's always exponential on
the
exactly. It's always exponential on the downside versus the positive side.
And from a psychological standpoint, simply stated, what you look for, you're going to see.
Dr.
Dr.
Orsak, yes.
Yeah, it was my degree background, all right. If you're talking about negative things, you're posting negative things, and you're putting that out there, your mind literally becomes more skilled in seeing it. And so when you have the aspect is set up for complaints to come in, that's what everybody begins to see, and so they notice it more, and their mind becomes more skilled in seeing the negative. And so now everybody's just posting negative.
Now, wouldn't it be nice if an association went out and found people doing something right and rewarded good behavior?
Some associations actually do that when they
Yard of the month, but beyond that, yeah.
But it's also when there's a deed restriction violation and they either call the person. I like calling rather than sending a letter. But when they call or send the letter and the person complies, some associations send out a thank you note saying, we really appreciate your respecting your neighborhood and maintaining the property values.
They have never sent me a thank you letter for putting up my garage, my trash can. I'm now appalled.
I just said some of them.
Did you want
But I think the whole point is if we can focus more on the community, on bringing that sense of that spirit of community, and less on, well, we've got to do the business, we've got to do the governance, we've got to enforce the rules because those are property values, and enhancing property values even more. But remembering there's another aspect that's so just as important, maybe even more important.
Yeah, and of course, Manuel, up in the Woodlands, you've got associations, but you also have the township of that, and they've got a lot of rules and things like that. And how do they typically enforce that?
Actually, it's kind of nice that you put out this. I have actually 3 in my neighborhood. One is the Lake Woodlands, and the other one is the township. But then they added another one with our own community. Is where I actually live, and it's nice. I mean, it takes care of our front yards. The values are mic watering is actually higher, so it's very strict, and I like it. Actually, I used to be a member of it.
That's what made, and again, I always recommend that agents, especially, get involved with the association because it gives them a better understanding. If nothing else, it's like, why are they doing that? And they just go, "This is bad. This is bad." But usually things are put in place for a reason.
Right.
And so, kind of understand what that is.
I've owned multiple homes in multiple different areas. I'll tell you, the associations I've had least complaints with, and including the ones I'm in right now, are the ones that are best involved in community. The ones that best involve us in activities and ongoing activities and getting together the people, etc. There's still rules to enforce. There's still governance associated with it. The worst ones are the ones who don't care.
Right.
It's I collect a check and I send you a letter whenever you're doing something wrong. There's no community involvement. There's no buy-in to the process, right?
Right.
So
I think it would be great if realtors got more involved in the leadership in their communities, because they have a lot to offer.
I always encourage them to do it, but they, when they're that busy, they just say, I just don't have the time.
It's maybe it's one meeting a month, and if they do it right, they don't even have to meet every month if they follow the rules, but they do enough communication by electronically, they don't have to meet every
I don't
month.
really think it's the time, Margie. I think it's the I don't want to. But they want to
But
tell you
that's the
they're
problem
busy.
with a lot of communities. There's really good people out there who could be wonderful leaders, but they just don't want to spend the time on it, and it's the second and the third tier who are getting involved.
Yeah, and I always appreciate the volunteers who do get involved and care about the community, make a difference, and I've noticed in my and I live in a townhouse, so we get a lot more people sending out things about doing events together and know your neighbor, and we lost a little bit of that know your neighbor, because I remember when I was growing up, you'd walk into a place or move into a place and people would be coming from everywhere bringing you food and welcoming you to the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Coming back.
We are coming up against the end of the show real fast. Manuel, how can we reach you one more time if you don't mind?
For sure. My phone number is 281-507-6923, or my website is themolinateam.com.
We're coming up against our 6-day and 23-hour break.
That is true. That is true right there. How about yourself, sir? How can we reach you?
Tommy Warren at American Outdoor, 832-641-0169.
And the HOA hotline is 832-251-1874 or CAIHouston.org, and click on the HOA hotline tab.
We appreciate all of our great guests. We especially appreciate two of our great sponsors right here in the studio with us. We have Tim O'Neill with State Farm, by the way, great individual. And we also have Dave with Capital Title up in the Woodlands. He is the marketing rep up there. Great individual. Let me tell you, two of our great sponsors. Rat Pack Agent.
RatPackAgent.com.
That is correct. Yeah,
Click him.
Click him. I like to leave the show with a quote. Today is no difference. It says here, at one time in the world, there were woods that no one owned. Thought that was pretty interesting right now. Now the Woodlands is owned by everybody. Until next time, we are out.
KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your